Hello and welcome. I'm mostly recording this as a how-to, shall we say. I have changed the run and I'm now killing lasher packs. The main difference here, I would say, is related to how long it takes to clear this. So as I jump down here, I pull that pack, trigger the warp pod if I can. I pull with the wand, blink, counterspell, jump here, turn backwards, and ice block. And we're letting these three packs surround us. Then, of course, we get out of the ice block, Frost Nova, and we try the Shatter combo. Normally in here I don't bother with strafing, avoiding hits and so on, just because free packs are not particularly dangerous. If you were able to pull more than three, then you might want to consider strafing away from them to make sure you don't get too much damage, right? But as things are, you can see they're not much of a problem. And I've got a timer running here. Clearing this entire area of whiplashers takes roughly 6 minutes. I am going to get that dreamfoil there, the one that's guarded by the death flash, but I will do that on my way back, not right now. So after killing those three packs, we come this way and we're going to be killing this pack and that other pack over there. You do want to try to make sure that you've got around half mana, roughly half your mana bar before pulling a pack, because occasionally some of them will resist. Maybe you'll get really unlucky with crits with the Shatter combo. So if that's the case, you obviously want to make sure that you can at least finish them off with arcane explosions. It doesn't happen often, but, you know, better safe than sorry, I suppose. And after this fourth pack, I tend to burn Evocation, just to try to speed up this section. But also because Evocation should be ready to use once again when we need it. We shouldn't really be needing it after dealing with these packs. We shouldn't be needing Evocation for the second boss, for Zevrim, which is why I feel sort of safe using it here. Now, in what concerns the talents and the gear, I will go over those when I stop to drink. So let's just do that now, quickly. In what concerns Frost, what you want from here is Shatter, Ice Block, Improved Cone of Cold for the Shatter combo, and Ice Barrier. For Fire, you mostly want Master of Elements, Improved Scorch, and Ignite. You also want Incinerate, of course, because it increases the critical strike chance for Scorch and Fire Blast. These two are interchangeable, as in you could have 2 points in Improved Scorch and 3 into Master of Elements if you prefer to play it that way. It's absolutely fine. I had this spec for a completely different thing, and I didn't feel like it was worth changing it. So, although this thing is supposed to be a Frost spec, like 31 points in Frost, in reality, most of our damage here and the way we deal with bosses and these slasher packs, well, that's got to do with fire, as in fire damage, either Flame Strike for the Whiplashers or Scorch and Fire Blast for bosses, right? And that's why we want Big Knight, that's why we want Master of Elements, Improved Scorch, and so on. In what concerns Frost, we mostly want Ice Barrier for the possibility of absorbing Wither on the last boss and Pain on the second boss. But also because it allows us to sort of face tank a few hits here and there. So you've seen that with some Whiplashers, you're going to see that with some Satyrs, and so on. Now, having dealt with that pack and with this pack, we've still got one pack left. It's somewhat hidden. It's all the way in that corner. You wouldn't normally see it due to this tree. But I know it's there, so I'm just gonna go straight to it. And the easiest way to get to it is by blinking through this tree right here. So I go straight to the tree and blink. And that allows me to get all the way to the other side right here. I pull them with the counter spell. You can also use the wand if you need to. And of course, once again, Nova, Flame Strike, Cone of Cold, the famous Shatter combo, followed by a few Arcane Explosions to clean up the pack. Now, the reason for which I started killing these guys is that they can drop some greens, and they do drop some greens now and then, but they also drop random herbs, and herbs have started going up, like Grom's Blood is over 1 gold, Dreamfile is 1.7 gold, Ghost Mushrooms are close to 1 gold as well, and so on. They also drop some trash items, but nothing too fancy. Now the Grom's Blood here is guarded by this Dead Lash, as you can see. We are going to take it, and we're going to take it now, but unfortunately what that means is that we need to go to this guy, use a Frost Nova to keep him rooted for 8 seconds or close to that. Take this thing. You can see that I triggered the warp pod there. And as soon as we take it, we Cone of Cold this guy to keep him slowed for 8, 10 seconds, 11 seconds, whatever. And after that, we run away and reset. Now, on the way here, we may run into one satyr. There are either 2 satyrs, occasionally just one of them, I suppose, until the first boss. And if we don't find one here, you can see this guy here, then we can expect to find him patrolling between that mob over there and this pillar or even the corridor. So we jump up on the pillar in order to reset. That will eventually get the Deathlash to run back. And yeah, that just happened. You do have one Ghost Mushroom node here as well, as you can see. We are taking this, of course, and we're going to go and kill the satyr. We don't absolutely need to, but we could potentially run into him on the way back after we've dealt with Zevrim, which is why I prefer to just kill him right now instead of bothering with the whole thing. And you can use Ice Barrier, like I said, to face tank a few hits. Or you can use your typical mage tools, I suppose, Blink, Nova, Cone of Cold Kiting, and so on. I don't really bother with all of that stuff. It's way too fancy for a single satyr. And on this occasion, we've only had to deal with one of them. There could potentially be 2 of them there, right? And it's the same thing between Hydraspawn, the first boss, and second boss, Zevrim. You could have a satyr here, a shadow stalker in stealth, and you could have a second one before Zevrim. We'll see whether we've got 1 or 2 of them in just a few moments. Okay, a satyr is not here, so what that means is that we're going to come across one of them in the tunnel, or potentially just outside of the tunnel at the other end. Okay, here's the first one. So obviously we are going to be killing this guy, and once we've dealt with him, we can expect to find another one. So you could have 2 of them. You could have 2 of them up to the first boss, and you could have 2 more on the way to the second boss, right? It doesn't always happen. Sometimes you've got 1 and 1, sometimes you've got 1 and 2, and of course you could have a total of 4 as well. So for this guy, you've got two options. You can either use the pillar here to juggle him back and forth, and I will show that for a few seconds, but I won't actually be killing him here. It's too much of a pain. As a troll, sorry. So this is a troll mage, a very large character model, relatively speaking, which makes it quite difficult to hide here. But I will just quickly show you how to juggle him, just in case you would rather do this right here. And I will tell you why I'm not doing it here as well. So if I go here, he will run that way. Of course, I let him run for a bit. Get out, cast the Scorch, hide again, let him run again. And you can keep doing this for a very long time. But I don't kill him here. I find that both less safe and annoying as a troll mage. Any other race, so I don't know, gnome, human, undead, whatever, is fine with killing him there. But as a troll, this is a much, much better option. Now, when I come here, I position the mage on the side of this first candle, the large one. This is not a real obstacle. You can see that I can strafe through it. But the ones behind, these are obstacles, and that's why I avoid them, because they can cause you to fall down to the left much further than you intended, and that can make you get hit by a sacrifice. Speaking of sacrifice, it's very easy to line of sight it just behind this pillar, as you can see. However, if you get hit by it, the fact that you're killing this guy here at the pillar makes it like 20 times safer, because what happens is that when you get hit by sacrifice, you're going to get teleported up there on the table where he was when we pulled him, right? So if that actually happens, he will have to run all the way back through the tunnel to get back up there, and that gives you a lot of time to bandage, to perhaps use evocation if you need to, and so on. Another major advantage is that if you accidentally pull another pack, like this guy or even Hydrospawn, you can get sacrificed on purpose, like just don't hide when he tries to cast it. And you can use that strategy to reset, because he will teleport you up there. You wouldn't normally have the time to run all the way up there if you wanted to reset the encounter, but because he teleports you, like you can see right now, see, he teleported me right up here on this table, and I can sit in that sacrifice. You can also ice block it straight away if you want to. I'm not gonna do that. It would defeat the whole point. So now I can simply bandage. If I felt like I was running out of mana, I could also use evocation and so on. And when I'm done with this thing, you know, during all this time he had to run that way through the tunnel and to come down here, so you've got plenty of time to do whatever. You can just jump down and continue from where you left off. You don't normally want to do this, because every time you get sacrificed and you stop to bandage and to wait to come down here, you're going to waste about half a minute, I would say. He has to run up there through the tunnel, then he has to come back here, and as you can see, the timer is ticking, so we've wasted quite a bit of time by doing this, but I thought it was worth showing it, so yeah, here we are. And in there you could see how we can easily get rid of that thing using sacrifice. Okay, now I've really screwed up, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna allow him to sacrifice me. So, as you can see, I now got sacrificed, and this is part of what I was talking about. And what I can do now, because normally being there you'd be dead, like I've got one pack pulled, and I've got the second boss pulled, right? Hydrospawn, you can see he's no longer here, and I've also got that pack of imps with the satyr. But instead what I can do is I can jump down here on this ledge and just wait for the whole thing to reset. And when this thing is done, when it resets, I can simply go back up through the tunnel, right? And come down here. And I can simply restart the encounter without any further problems, right? So whether you do that on purpose or whether you do it by accident, it's just worth knowing that you can always do this sort of stuff. You can always reset, even when it looks super giga desperate, right? Like when you think things couldn't get worse and it's 100% a wipe, well, actually it's not. All you have to do is allow that guy to sacrifice you, and this is why I prefer to do this down here, right? If you do it up there, where the boss is, let's just go there and restart the whole thing. When he teleports you to the table, he's basically 2 steps away from that table. So what that means is that he will be on you in like 2 seconds, and you will be taking the sacrifice damage and melee damage, and as a clothy, as a mage, you will be dead in just a few seconds. Unless, of course, you ice block, but you know, how often are you able to ice block, really? Okay, so now that we've shown what we wanted to show, let's just do it normally, the way I do it normally, right? We pull with Pyroblast, followed by Scorch and Fire Blast. Blink away and jump down here. And we move to our position. Again, that is just right to the right hand side of this first candle, because we can pass through it, right? You can see the mage does not climb on these, unlike these ones here, right? So you can just position yourself accordingly, you wait for the boss, and normally killing this boss takes something like, let me think, 2 minutes and a half maybe, something like that. Unless, of course, you get sacrificed. And if you get sacrificed, you're going to be wasting, I don't know, between 30 seconds and possibly, I don't know, up to 10 minutes, depending on how often you're going to get sacrificed. But normally it's really easy to just avoid it when you're not trying to prove a point like I was doing in the, initial, let's call it, attempt. You can just do this sort of thing, strafe left and right, cast Scorch when you're down there, cast Fire Blast when you're up here, and just repeat until the boss is finally dead, right? You don't want to try to get greedy with the Scorch casts, like, oh, let me try to cast another one here, because you might end up having the boss coming all over this way in the second half, as it were, here. And that can be quite problematic for you, because strafing here is not much of an option when you've got the imp pack over there. Now you may have noticed that I did not pull the first boss. The first boss is an elemental, whereas this guy is a satyr. And in Dire Maul East, the so-called social aggro is not shared between elementals and demons. So this guy does have social aggro with these guys, but not with the boss. And it's the other way around with the rest of the elementals, right? You can use Ice Barrier in here if you want to absorb the intense pain damage. I don't really bother with it, because it just doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Not as long as you've got your Dampen Magic up. If you've got Dampen Magic up, you're absolutely fine. And of course we kill him there. The boss is safe to loot, you'll just have to be careful not to go too close to the imps or to the warp pod, right? And you loot it and you're on your way out. Now this run will be significantly longer than my normal run. A normal run where, I don't stop to pick explain anything. I don't stop to show what you could or couldn't do and so on. That takes about 18 minutes and a half. This one, as you can see, is already heading towards the 20 minutes mark, and it will probably be around, I don't know, 24 minutes, give or take. So in here, we want to reactivate this dampen magic thing to recast it, because it's going to take a bit of time to get to the last boss. We have to get past this entire Frogger minigame with the patrols, but once you've done this a number of times, you get used to it. And if you look right here, I've got almost 400 runs done, right? So by now I have plenty of experience with these guys. When we started the run, I said I was going to pick up that dream foil, the one that's guarded by that Deathlash, and the easy way to pick it is to just, again, Nova this guy, pick up the herb, do a cone of cold to keep it slowed for 10 seconds or 9 seconds or whatever. And then, of course, you want to run away through that open door and reset. And you've got a few reset spots that are pretty easy to reach. The first one is on the left-hand side of this corridor where it ends. You've got a small ledge, and I will show it in just a moment. Just need to get there first. Okay, we're going to aggro that patrol. We don't really have much of a choice. So this here would be the first reset spot, right? The Lash would not be able to reach you here. There is another one on that huge ledge going all the way around that area. And we can get to it in a moment. You can see we dropped combat, the Lash reset. Another reset point, spot, whatever, is all the way on this ledge, like all the way around. And the final one is down here where we just jumped on this huge pillar. So we just get full mana, full HP. We jump down here, blink to avoid taking full damage. Once again, you do want to have full HP and full mana before pulling this boss, just because you could very well get hit with one of his debuffs. So he does two things that you need to worry about in satyr form. One of them is Wither, which is a disease, a dot. That is not particularly dangerous as long as you've got your dampen magic on. But the Enervate one burns your mana. So obviously as a mage that is a huge problem, right? Okay, so here we've got Wither. It does a bit of damage, enough to take down our shield, but we can just recast it and it's fine. The other one is Enervate. When he switches to that wolf form, you need to be careful and not allow it to get too close to you, because it can do this mangle debuff, a bleed, but it also greatly reduces your speed to the point where you're unable to make this jump anymore from this rock to the ledge. So if that happens, you kind of have to ice block it straight away, because if you don't, you're pretty much dead. And of course, when the boss drops below 50%, that wall breaks and the imps come running forward. I've ice blocked here, the boss was just about to cast Wither, and I'm sitting in this ice block just until the imps get to me. Once they do, I just get out, do a Frost Nova, and run to the reset spot. Now in the past, and this is the way I have shown this run to my friends, in the past I used to use a lesser invisibility potion here, and when I dropped combat I would simply pop that potion and then I would walk in the tunnel. Since then I stopped using it, just because it's a waste of gold. And the easiest thing to do here is to jump down for a few seconds, allow every single imp to come here, And once all of them are here, you just do a Nova, Flame Strike, followed by Blizzard, and even though they're evading, the Blizzard is eventually going to kill them. There are still a few of them here, and if we look at their HP, sometimes they will heal back to full, as you could just see now, but again, Blizzard will eventually kill them. I jumped back up too fast, too quickly. I should have waited for all of them to be here, and that way I would have taken them down with a single Flame Strike Blizzard combo. So now that we killed them, we're able to go into the cave. Nothing will aggro anymore. And of course, we hit the slot machines, the Rich Thorium Vein lottery, and you can see in this case we got an Arcane Crystal. Just one run before this, I also got a Blue Sapphire, so it's not particularly bad, right? And you've got these 2 or maybe 3 Rich Thorium Veins. It depends on luck. You obviously mine them and hope for one of the rare gems, either a Blue Sapphire or an Arcane Crystal. The rest of them tend to be pretty worthless on this server at the moment. So this run we got 3 of these Rich Thorium Veins. Like I said, sometimes you've only got 2 of them. Okay, and we got sort of unlucky. The other gem we got was a Star Ruby, which barely sell for anything at the moment. So once again, this was a very long run. You can see it took 27 minutes. But for the next run, we are going to just go for it without further explanation. And we should be much quicker. You should probably expect something like 18 minutes, give or take. 18 and a half, let's just say that. So reset instance. We go here, rebuff. I'm going to be taking a very short break, and when I get back we can simply continue, and like I said, we should expect something like an 18, maybe 18 and a half minutes. Okay, I'll just stop recording for a few minutes. Alright, we're back, so let's just go straight back in, start the timer. And the only reason for which I'm using this timer is because that way you can easily, and I mean easily, see how long it takes to clear each section. The reason for which that even matters is that depending on your professions, you might want to do one thing or a completely different thing in here. And what I mean by that is that if you have herbalism and mining, you might want to do the exact same type of run I did earlier. Or if you don't have mining, perhaps you would rather just do, quick 6 minutes runs, clearing the whiplashers, gathering the herbs, and then resetting using the same old method. You log into an alt that you're parted with, you reset the instance, and go again. So what you're doing here is really up to you. I'm still mining, while herbs did become more profitable, and living essences, which these guys drop, also sell for a bit of gold. You can see 4.5 gold is the current price, because they are needed for a bunch of stuff, mostly Anchorage, nature resistance gear, and enchants. But it's really difficult for me at the moment to pass on the opportunity of getting these big ticket items, like arcane crystals are going for 61 gold, blue sapphires are going for 35 gold. I don't really want to go and say, oh, no, I'll pass on these, just give me the herbs, right? Because it is a serious chunk of gold. I've probably made around, I want to say 10,000 from these runs. At the moment, you can see I've only got just over 6,000, but I do have a lot of gold invested. some of it into flasks, Black Lotus, that sort of thing, and some of it in other stuff. So if we look at Flask of Supreme Power, you can see I've got 34 of these, and if we look at Black Lotus, you can see I've also got 23 of these. So yeah, a lot of gold that I made is actually blocked at the moment, or well, tied in various investments, and those are covered in the gold making guide that you can find on the channel if you're interested. But yeah, point is that I have made probably about 10,000 gold from these runs. So given the fact that we are talking about classic, something that's supposed to sort of resemble vanilla, it's not too bad. We've got one dream foil here, just waiting for that patrol to go away. I may have missed one in the beginning, but that's not a problem, we'll get to it. So we try to pull that back before the patrol walks past. These are all elementals, so they do have that social aggro thing I mentioned earlier. If you pull these at the wrong time, they will aggro the Warpwood Stompers, so you do want to be a bit careful here, right? And we've got, let's see, we've still got that back. There should be another Grom's Blood over there. I think it might be guarded by the large Lasher. We'll see about that in a moment. For now, let's just pull that back quickly before the patrol comes back. Now these, like I said, they do drop a bunch of random crap, so I just vendor these. I've got some of them stored, but I just vendor them because this sort of run will fill your bags up in like no time. You might end up doing 6 runs and your bags will be full. Even if you've got all, Onyxia Hide backpacks, it's still going to be full. Okay, so we've got our mana back, and we are once again going to just blink through that tree. We can see the Grom's Blood there being guarded by that lash, and once again, in order to pick it up, we are just going to freeze the guy, herb, and then go reset. But before we do that, obviously we want to take down the final lasher pack. And as you can see, we've taken down every lasher pack now, and we're below the 6 minutes mark at the moment, right? Still at 5 minutes and whatever. Now, this part is a bit risky, because when we get this, I haven't even checked, the patrol might be coming this way, but it doesn't matter. But when we get this and we start moving away, we could be running into one of the satyrs here. Occasionally one of them patrols, yeah, you can see the first one here. And that's fine, for now we're just going to ignore it, just slow him down. Okay, Nova. And make our way here. There could be a second one right here, or, patrolling between this and between this pillar and that pack over there, right? But it doesn't really concern us. On this occasion I might even skip that satyr because it's not really important, and if we can avoid it, we might be able to make the run just a bit faster. You do, however, want to make sure that you've got close to full mana before proceeding if you've skipped that satyr, because what could potentially happen is that you could start fighting the second satyr, if it exists around here, and then you get aggro from the second one, and or the first one rather, and if that happens, you're going to be in a pretty tight spot, especially because right now, as you can see, we don't have evocation. So the main danger with fighting two of them at the same time is not running out of HP, so to speak, it's running out of mana. Even with the mana ruby, you could still run out of mana. Okay, we don't have a satyr here, so we have to expect at least one of them in the tunnel. At least one. There could be two of them. We don't know that. Okay, so the first one is right here. What I do is I tend to spam Scorch to get 5 stacks before doing a Cone of Cold, Nova, and attempting a Shatter combo with Fireball and Fire Blast. After that, we're good to go. Now these guys do put up this 22 seconds debuff, reducing your movement speed by 66%, so you're pretty much reduced to crawling forward, so to speak. What I do when that happens is I just sit down and drink, and yeah, you can see how slow we're moving, so you don't really lose anything by sitting down to drink when this sort of thing happens to you. The thing is, there could be a second satyr just up ahead, and you don't want to skip these. The reason for that is that this is the route the boss takes when he comes down there. There could be a second satyr here as well, patrolling between the tunnel exit and close to this ghost mushroom. He only goes down to here, actually, but you know, you should check that. Because again, when you pull the boss and when you jump down there, if a second satyr does exist, if it's still alive, chances are the boss will aggro that second satyr, and that's the sort of headache you don't actually need, right? It's bad enough to have to fight this guy with his 10,000 sacrifice attempts. You don't want to have an ad to deal with. Especially because they get easily desynced, as it were. They don't keep running towards you at the same time, since the boss will stop to try to cast sacrifice, whereas the other guy does not. In there you can see there's a chest, and on this occasion it's locked. Since I'm not an engineer, because I am using herbalism and mining, I'm not able to open that chest. Engineers would be able to open it with Sephorium charges, I suppose, but you wouldn't want to run this instance on a character that's got engineering. However, the chest is occasionally unlocked, and it could be here or there, near that back. And if you want, you can actually loot that chest by using the ledge strategy. So in the previous run, when I was showing how you can use sacrifice to your advantage to reset a fight, I jumped down on that ledge, and that's exactly how you can loot that chest as well. What you do is you go up there where Zevrim's original location is, next to that sacrifice table. You pull the mobs from up there, and they will run all the way to the tunnel and through the tunnel, potentially aggroing everything on the way back. But you wait for them up there, just above this area, and once they reach that area, what you do is you jump down the ledge, you reset the fight, so you get out of combat. As you know, you can't loot chests in combat. And once you manage to drop combat, you just go loot the chest and get the hell out of there before they return, right? So yeah, if you want to, you can do that sort of thing. And that's the only reason for fighting this boss up there, next to his original spawn point, right? Because it saves you the time of having to run back through the tunnel if you want to loot a chest. It's not the case with me. I'm not going to loot that chest, especially since it's locked, but even if it was unlocked, it wouldn't really be worth the trouble. most of the time it just contains one random green. Sometimes there are two of them, but usually you've only got one, right? Okay, we've looted the boss. We're moving away from this spot because Hydrospawn can patrol up to here. In fact, you can see him right now. And once he starts moving away, we can start moving away as well. And you can see we are now at 12.5 minutes. So there is a chance that we are going to finish this in the normal amount of time, which for me is about 18 minutes and a half. You will note that I stopped to drink here, and that's because, if you recall, we skipped the satyr. We did not go back to kill it. So it is possible that we are going to aggro him, and if that happens, we obviously want to be prepared. One thing that can be done here, if you run into him, is to try to blink through him without aggroing. It doesn't always work, but it can be done. So if you're mostly interested in getting to the rich thorium veins as quickly as possible, you would most likely want to skip that satyr. What they tend to drop, which is some completely random bullshit like rune cloth, maybe some fell cloth, it's hardly worth your time, right? You might be better off not dealing with their poisons, with their stealth and so on. It's really up to you. Normally I tend to kill all of them just to be safe, just to be on the safe side, as it were. But yeah, you could very well choose to skip them. I don't feel like you would be missing out by doing that. And of course, we've made it through the tunnel, or almost. It would be great if you could afford to use swiftness potions here to just make the runs even quicker. You won't need to use a potion on the last boss normally, so it wouldn't be much of a waste, right? The only problem is that most herbs, including Swift Thistle and Briarthorn, did go up recently. They are no longer sold for like 2 silver each, so it's up to you if you want to spend the gold on that or not. Perhaps prices are different on your realm. I tend to be a bit cheap about this stuff. I don't like to use potions if I don't feel like I absolutely have to, which is why I no longer use the lesser invisibility potion either, right? I tried to use this pillar here to LOS a potential cast. Sometimes I am able to do it, and I get through the fight without a single wither or enervate hitting me. Otherwise, I get like 4 of them hitting me, so either I am terrible at this or it's just tough luck. Enervate is a somewhat longer cast, so that is one you can usually avoid, but Wither is a fairly short cast time, so when it comes to that one, it's pretty much a matter of luck as far as I'm concerned. And in here we can see the imps are once again coming out. I jumped down just to force the boss to come down, and then I jumped back up here, of course. And you don't need to use Ice Block. You could see me using Ice Block, but the imps are so fast, actually, that you can wait for them, freeze them, and come here without having to use Ice Block. You don't need to burn Evocation here either. You could, so let's just do that now, just to make things even faster, in order to be ready for the imps, but you could very well just drink when you get out of combat, right? So let's do that for a tick or two. Right, and you can see we're drinking and the mana keeps going up at the moment, and you could just do that. You don't need to burn your cooldowns, that's all I'm saying. And once we've done that, we are now going to wait for every imp to get to the same spot. Freeze, Flame Strike, and Blizzard. And this should kill all of them in like a few seconds. You still waste a bit of time because you're going to be in combat. These imps are linked to these fell lashes and the whiplashers, but they reset fairly quickly, as you could see. So with that done, we obviously once again go straight for the big ticket items, hoping for an arcane crystal, a blue sapphire, that sort of thing. Keep in mind that these are very rare drops, so don't expect to get one every single run. A lot of people will put up videos claiming that happens every single run and calculating something like, oh yeah, 1000 gold per hour from Dire Maul. No, that's not how it works. Most of the time you're not going to get any gem in here. You could see me getting an arcane crystal in the first run, where I explained a bunch of things, but expect to get absolutely nothing from these other than thorium ore. That's pretty much a given most of the time. So yeah, we had an 18 minutes run, and we have dealt with everything in there other than that one satyr that we decided to skip, right? We could have killed that one too, and it would have made the run, I don't know, 18 minutes and a half, maybe 19 minutes. Now, if you want to go for the whiplasher and herbs and just do the first section, which you could see me doing a few times, then you should expect to have 6 to 7 minutes run, but in reality they will take more like 9, because you will need to log out, you will need to log an alt, and that alt needs to wait for a while for the server to pass leader to it, and then you reset and you relog again, so in reality you'll be spending like 9 minutes. Either way, it's below the 12 minutes mark, so you can do the 5 runs an hour you would expect to be able to do. If you're doing this stuff, what I've done now, which is herb, kill the whiplasher packs, kill the second boss, trigger the last boss, mine the rich thorium veins, then you should expect to be able to do 3 rounds an hour, because you will be doing something like 18 to 20 minutes per run. So yeah, that's about it. Hopefully this is less confusing now for some of you. You should check the prices on your server if you're going to do this, like the price of Living Essence, of Chrome's Blood, of Dreamfoil, of Blue Sapphires, Arcane Crystal, just so that you can decide what's best for you on your server. So with that said, I'm going to stop recording now. I'm going to upload the video after merging those 2 segments, and yeah, let me know what you think. See you next time.